you risk everything, but just a small move, you can make 30, 50, 100% on your investment. So I just look for areas where, I see enough maturity, where I see some area, and then take a shot.
What you're about to see is a video snippet from inside the boiler room. Every single morning before the open of the US stock markets, I analyze dozens of stocks and then decide on the trades that we're going to look at for that day with dozens of traders. We all get together, execute trades, chat some, and make some money together on a Zoom conference call. Go to thepatterntrader.com/club to find out more.
Dow also relatively stronger. And this has been the story for the last 6 months. Dow, which is value, is much stronger than growth, which is the Qs. So you can see the Dow, we're just in this trading range. I do believe that this is a serious resistance level. I don't know that we're just going to poke through here, but, again, we could still have a spurt here before we do that. So this is somewhat of a random environment, but you can see how the Dow is hanging up pretty close to the highs here, where the Qs are right at the lows. The Qs are right at their old lows. So you can see the disparity here. See that Microsoft's kind of got this V top looking thing. It's kind of one way this way, one way that way. You can see how neatly this thing, every time it hits along this line, it gets rejected. So it's really observing this downtrend line. We've got this V top, if you will. It's also in this very tight channel. So the next retest of this channel's right around, whatever, 190. Looks like it has a very legitimate chance to get there. So this was the 2020 breakout, which also puts it exactly there. So I think that is what you're looking at. 190 in Apple, 190 in Microsoft. And then maybe it's just load up the boat, on a long-term basis. This is how you build your wealth. Wait for good companies to go on sale. So, let's see how that goes. There's kind of a trend line here. And it all kind of coincides at this 190. So that to me is, if we get there, I think you can start loading it up the other way. Now, I don't think you're going to get a V bottom, but at some point, we can actually look forward to some of these opportunities, to buy great companies, at fire sales. But path of least direction right now is lower. You can see that these monthly reversals have pointed in the direction and followed by new lows every time they've made that. And that's actually what the indexes are doing. IGV is kind of tricky because on one hand, you could say there is this bottom here. You got this little rounding bottom, and the thing is, can you see this thing kind of going back up here? I mean, it could, but again, I kind of looked at this as a reversal and then an inside day coil. Now, again, this is going to be somewhat tricky because now, it's like, how is prices going to navigate through all of this stuff? I like to see some spacing, something. So it is very tricky in here. The market's just bouncing around and it's not giving a lot. And again, this was my misgiving coming into, the first part of this year, is that this may be just a pretty low volatility environment where kind of, nothing really happens. And I can only do as well as the market environment. I can't invent magic here. So, I took a shot in IGV. This doesn't look as good a setup as Qs. It just looks like a little bit more problematic to get through here. But, again, I'm just looking for some kind of movement. That's the beauty of call options or put options. You risk everything, but just a small move, you can make 30, 50, 100% on your investment. So I just look for areas where, I see enough maturity, where I see some area, and then take a shot. Here we can see we're only, a couple days into the month. But now the question is, are we setting up for a reversal on the month? We went higher. Do we take out the low? How do we close? This is going to be, so sometimes when we're unsure, we have to let the markets kind of tell us. When something kind of goes up like this, there's a part of me that says this looks very much like a short covering rally. When it's straight blue, where you close every day, every week, every month on the high, it just feels like a trap behavior. So, I still got to respect this, as a top. And this is what I was saying with UPS or whatever. Sometimes you see these tops and sometimes you kind of get into a thing, before it rolls over. At what point does this start busting this implication? So again, it's going to be very consequential how this month closes. Do we kind of close on the high again and, keep showing strength over strength, or, does this kind of show us a reversal? And even if it was a reversal, when things go straight up, they don't go straight down. So it's not going to be that straightforward. So I'm kind of still watching this. This is trading through this prism of this ascending broadening. Now, these can be continuation. The NASDAQ did this. The NASDAQ in 2020 hit the bottom of an ascending triangle and then went and made a new high. So what I do is I draw these structures and then start seeing how does the market negotiate this structure. So basically it trapped, did this bear trap. If you shorted this thing, now you're kind of stuck in here. And this still feels, I don't know, like it's working its way higher. So if we kind of pivot back to this lower end line, and, we just have to kind of watch how it behaves in here. So not quite sure. There's some resistance right here. So I would watch, this area between 1770 and 1850. And the more it kind of negotiates here without going lower, I suspect that this thing wants to go higher. And I was really more on the bear side. So I don't know if this is a short covering trap. It's in the middle. This is clearly in the middle where you have this pattern, head and shoulders, and now you have this triple bottom and an inverted head and shoulders. So this is where, trading is an art. It's not a science. And we just kind of have to, see how it negotiates this level. So, I tend to, when I get into a conflict like this, defer to the most recent pattern. So right now, this is kind of an inverted head and shoulders. And until this is kind of taken out, I have to kind of respect that this may be, a valid pattern. So what I would do is I'd look for a retest of this breakout area. What is this, 1800, and see how it holds or doesn't. So, when we're a little bit unsure, let the market show us what it wants to do. To me, even if this thing wants to go down, I don't think it's going to cut through this so easily. It still feels like it's easier now for this to go higher. So into tomorrow's report, if we get a sell-off down into 1800s, I would think that might be a cute little buying opportunity. But if we have a reversal up here, it could be, the end of this little run. So you can see that we're at the top end of this channel. And then, I'd be watching how it behaves at the bottom end. And then, we'll see where we go. So it's just, we're right between support and resistance, right smack between. So now, let's let the market give us a little bit more evidence, but it's starting to feel like this feels like path of least resistance is higher.
Hey, if you would like to trade alongside me every day and join our most prestigious program, then head over to thepatterntrader.com/club for more information.